Hey nerds, what's up? Today I'll be reviewing my last two SPFBO 7 books, A Handful of Souls and Restoration Day. See you after the jump. Let's jump in right to the first one, which is Restoration Day by Deborah Makarios. This book follows a young girl named Lily who has grown up very sheltered in a palace, being protected from the outside world. Soon she discovers that a lot about her life has been kept from her and that she doesn't really know the full story. And so she leaves her sheltered life very naively to go save her land in what she thinks will be a simpler adventure than what it ends up being. So full disclosure, this is the one book out of the 6 I chose to DNF for SPFBO 7. They asked us to DNF obviously as few as possible in this first 300 batch. A lot get DNF'd just simply for the sheer number of them, and I wasn't expecting to not finish any of my 6, but I ended up stopping this one at 25%. And I want to be clear, it is not because this book was poorly written. In fact, not at all. It was, well written. It was really cute. It was just more middle grade. Like as I was reading it, I think maybe is advertised as YA based on the age of the main character, but to me it skewed very young YA or perhaps late middle grade. Just in the plot pacing and the characterization and some of the names and what was happening just felt very like that subgenre of fantasy. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just something that I don't necessarily read. As someone who only reads really adult fantasy and rarely goes into YA, something that skews that young is just kind of difficult for me to get into and to read just at where I currently am. That isn't anything against the book in general. Again, it wasn't poorly written. It wasn't anything, just not necessarily what I was looking for as a part of SPFBO. So my recommendation is if you're someone who loves dabbling in YA or middle grade or has a child who's maybe late elementary or middle school who you would love to start introducing to the self-published realm, I would give Restoration Day a go. I didn't feel like I was necessarily the audience for that book. The final book I read was A Handful of Souls by Stephen Rice. This book follows a family. First, we open up on Lark, who we see brought to life by a necromancer. We then switch perspectives to his two sisters, Lily and Rose, as they have to flee town with their stepfather as their murderous biological father tries to follow them. They also receive a ransom note for their brother Lark, which is very disturbing. And so this story follows them as they kind of discover a lot more about the magic of their world in general, the secrets of their family, and go to ultimately rescue their brother. So A Handful of Souls I super enjoyed. I really liked this book. In fact, the combination of the cover and actually I found out afterwards, Amazon lists this as a teen YA. I personally disagree. I felt it read very adult. In fact, I was surprised because the cover read so YA to me that when I read the book and it felt adult, I was like super pleasantly surprised. So that's just my own opinion. Maybe he intended it for a YA audience. They are teen characters. I just don't really felt like it had that YA teen feel to it, in my opinion. I really like the magic in this book. One thing in this book, they're called feasters, and it reminded me a lot of the eaters from the First Law world. I think they were very similar. However, in this book, it focuses a lot more on those, and that's something that really interested me about First Law. So I really enjoyed that part of his world building. Like they were very interesting characters, especially how he riffs on it. And it also reminded me a lot of the confusion video I talked about because I really felt like his book had just the right level of confusion in terms of magic. Like he does not hold your hand in this novel. Rice lets you try to piece together and figure out what's going on in my opinion, a pleasant way. Like I really enjoyed it. And at the end, I didn't have all my questions answered, but I had enough answered. And there is a sequel. It might even be a series. And so I'm kind of excited to see that get explored and answered. I will be a little disappointed if some of the stuff isn't more fleshed out, but to me, it seemed very purposeful. And yeah, I just really liked it. And the ending, man, the ending got gross. Like there were some scenes I was there like, oh, that's so gross. That's so brutal. But in a positive way, like it drew me into the story and it was like gross, but in a way that made sense for the story. I don't know. I really liked it. I was entertained through the whole thing and I liked the struggles between the characters. I'm always a sucker for a sibling story and a story where you aren't sure if you can trust characters or not. And, you know, people who are maybe doing good things but for their own reasons. Like, I was just very interested in the entire arc of these characters, and I really enjoyed the book. I would say my biggest negative about this book is a hard one to explain. I felt sometimes I needed just like a little bit more description, just a little bit more text sometimes when we were getting from point A to B. Every once in a while I had to go back and like reread a paragraph being like, wait, how did we get from here to there? Like, there wasn't quite enough description of like traveling or getting there or like a character movement. Like, I just needed a little bit more. Sometimes it made the narrative like a little choppy. This didn't hurt my enjoyment of the book, but I think it could just be like a little cleaner, I guess is the better word to use in that. Like, just a little bit more descriptive, I guess, descriptions to get our characters from A to B or of kind of what's going on around us. But either way, I really don't have much negative to say about the novel. The descriptions of the book make Lily seem like the primary character, and she definitely is, but I would say it also focuses a lot on other characters, which I really liked. So I liked there was a very big diversity of viewpoints that we saw, and I think the way he did viewpoints for the most part makes sense. There was one viewpoint that was given, it was a new viewpoint at 66% of the way through the novel, which I thought was a little unnecessary. I'm always wary about introducing a new narrative that late in a novel that you couldn't get from another perspective. And I didn't necessarily think that this one was needed. On the flip side, I thought it was a very interesting perspective, so I also enjoyed it. So like, it's kind of hard. It's like a give and take there. Also, for fans of The Crooked Kingdom or The Six of Crows, I felt Lily, our primary character, gave me super Nina vibes. So if you really like her as a character, I think you would like this book because I kind of got that. But overall, I really enjoyed A Handful of Souls. Okay, so that's it. I did all 6 of my SPFBO 7 reviews. If you haven't watched the other ones, I will link them below in the description box. So I will be announcing my semi-finalist for Booknest this Friday over at Booknest in a text post. So if you want to know who my semi-finalist winner is, please go check that out at Booknest on Friday. I obviously always leave Booknest link below. They have a great blog with lots of different reviews, and you can see the other semi-finalists that they have chosen already. If you want to see all the other semi-finalists that have come in, I'm also linking the website below where it's very easy to see that. If you have read any of the books I've read, I'd be interested to see what you think of them, or if any of them catch your interest, how you're holding up with SPFBO. Are you following it? Let me know in the comment box below. I am super excited about the books I got. They were all really quality. I don't mean to sound surprised that that's rude. I mean, self-published has come such a long way. I really want to emphasize, like, all these books were polished. None of them had like errors or silly things that you would think about self-published. Like, they were all super plausible novels, and I'm really happy I got to read them. So I'm excited to announce my semi-finalist. As always, if you like these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. And if you want to see what I'm currently reading, you can check me out on Instagram at bookborn.reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye.